right, we got a clip. We're starting with a clip. Oh, look at that. So I don't know if you can tell, it was pretty quick. And I couldn't put the sound on because there's a copyrighted song. But basically, it says British golfer versus Aussie golfer. This is for our Aussie listeners out there. So there's a crocodile or an alligator. I don't know which one. Depends on which part of the world they're in. And I'm not good at telling by looking at them. Anybody want to take a stab at which one it is?
I didn't see the teeth, so I don't know if it had the upper bite, lower bite.
I'm going to assume it's in Florida. It's probably a gator. So the British golfer goes by it and he's scared of it and walks around it and it just sits there. And then the Aussie golfer goes up and gives a little schmack on the tail and it swims off. I don't know. I was looking for something sports related and fun. We lost Biehn, man. Oh, dang. Technical difficulties. This is, believe it or not, the 4th day in a row. Sorry, I know we said we were going to do a show last night, but, shit happens, and here we are. And Biehner's back in. Love it. So, since everybody is officially here, minus Darty, we've got Steph the Fanalist back from hibernation. We've got Suthy. And we've got Biehn. Thanks, everybody.
And Roscoe. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, and me. Happy Canada Day. Happy Rick DiPietro Day. Happy 4th of July. Happy summertime, you know? It's been friggin' hot. I don't know about where you guys are, but the last 3 days in Ottawa, it's been between 35 and 40 degrees, like nonstop. It's crazy.
Just so humid.
Oh, it's gross.
I love it.
I picked a wonderful week to work outside.
I love it too. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm spoiled because I don't work outside. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say the worst is at the end of, for me, working, 12, 13 hours, I go to my car. I try to move it at lunch into somewhere in the shade, but even then, you open the door and it's like, oh, okay. It's like opening the oven from a pizza. I got to let this sit for a sec. You get like the blast. My glasses fog up. It's like got to be 45, 50 degrees in my car. It's nuts.
Bake some cookies. Take advantage.
My car's white too. It's
crazy
how hot it's been.
Well, just picture if this were January, we'd be complaining about how cold it is and how snowy. So,
yeah, I don't know why we live in a place that changes like
I would
80 degrees between summer and winter. Like this is what people forget about. Thank you for reminding me, Suthy. Is when it is minus 35, 40, people are like, "Wow, this is nuts." And you go, "Yeah, but remember when it hit 35, 40 in the summer?" It's like, yeah, it doesn't get that warm. No, it does. Every summer it hits this around this time. It's always Canada Day. It's always a stupid thunderstorm on Canada Day, and then it hits 40 degrees. I'm so over this.
It's the best.
The reason... Sorry, Steph.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the reason we live in a place that has like an 80-degree fluctuation, just look at the video that you posted to start this off. We don't have things like that live where we live.
That's true. There are no
mosquitoes
and alligators. Just mosquitoes. That's true.
Mosquitoes are bad. Very bad. I'm covered in mosquito bites and bruises to go along with it because I scratch the shit out of them and they turn into huge ass bruises.
I'll have to. You can look up how to actually make this, but my girlfriend found something like I think it's potato onion water or something. Like you boil them and then you pour it into a little spray bottle that you use for like plants or whatever, and we spray it on like the deck. You don't smell it, but it keeps the mosquitoes away for like a couple days. It's crazy.
Nice.
So yeah, check it out. It's probably off of TikTok or something.
Oh, guaranteed.
I've honestly contemplated just planting citronella plants all over the yard.
Ooh. You should.
Speaking of yard, last thing before we get into talking about hockey, we've had this like ecosystem going on in our backyard. So there was a family of groundhogs underneath our shed. We had a family of squirrels living in the tree. There are 2 neighborhood cats that have taken up residence in the tent that we have for our own cats in the backyard. And what else is back there? Anyway, it's kind of nuts. Like you look at the window and we're in the city. It's a small backyard. There's just a forest of things going on. Anyway, it is no more as our landlord had to fill in the the groundhog hole and put some stones over it because they were getting like right under the shed, and they did it in like a matter of hours. It was crazy.
Oh, they're quick.
I'd never seen groundhogs till I moved to Ottawa.
Wow.
And they're everywhere. They're like squirrels here.
Oh.
Maybe not that common. They're more like somewhere between as common as like squirrels and raccoons. You know?
Yeah,
Fair.
we've got a huge squirrel population here.
Yeah.
Same
Not
in
like
Toronto.
in Newfoundland where there's no raccoons.
Pigeons and shit asses.
Shit asses.
Yeah.
Seagulls.
Anyway, some stuff has happened in the NHL, so let's talk about it. Okay, so we haven't been playing some games in quite a long time, so I thought I would turn our discussions into a little game here. So we're going to play a version of Higher or Lower where we go over all the guys we lost in free agency and say whether we think their point totals with their new teams are going to be higher or lower. Sound like a good idea? A little fun way to start the show?
Oui.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Okay, so let me pull up the Leafs roster here and stats from last year. Okay, so first one on the list, Michael Bunting. Michael Bunting, who had 23 goals, 26 assists in 82 games for 49 points. Do we think that Michael Bunting is going to get more or less points than that this season with, where did he sign again? Carolina?
Carolina. Yeah.
Carolina.
So let's go down the list. Steph, your first time back in a while. What do you think?
It's definitely a possibility to go higher here. He's going to be surrounded by superstars. I think Bunting will be in the top 6 on this team, taking the place of maybe Patches, who was supposed to fill that hole last year and then got IR'd all year long. But who knows, right? And the summer is still young, but career high last season, 63 points. I think he's going to be in between the two, between 49 and 63, maybe around the 55-point mark.
Okay. Suthy, what do you think?
Well, he was playing with superstars last year too with Toronto, so it's going to be fairly comparable. The only thing is Toronto scores more goals than Carolina, so I think it's going to be slightly under. But he might exceed that in his second year, though. But for his first year, I'm going to take the under.
Okay. I hear you. Biehn, what do you think?
I'm definitely going to say under. To Suthy's point, they don't really score a lot of goals in Carolina. So he's actually going to be expected to kind of bring an influx of goals into that roster. And with Brindamore behind the bench and the system that they have in Carolina, they're not going to put up with a lot of Bunting's BS. So he's actually going to have to be a little more responsible defensively. So I think that'll take away from his offensive game a little bit. And might even lose a little bit of his edge with having to, because they're not going to put up with the stuff that Keefe put up with.
Yeah, that's a good point. Brindamore's definitely not going to put up with his antics. And just looking at the daily face-off, which is obviously nothing official, just what people have put together so far, worth pointing out, Toivo Teravainen and Andrei Svechnikov are also left wingers. So they've got Bunting slotted in on a third line left wing with Jesper Fast and Jordan Stahl. So
yeah, hurts a spot on the power play too.
Yeah, there's obviously some competition in the top 6 there. I mean, you've got Seth Jarvis and Martin Necas on the right wing there. I mean, Bunting's going to have to really earn a spot if he wants to put up a lot of points. And again, like what Suthy said, they're not a high-scoring team. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits in, like what they're going for in bringing in somebody like that. Maybe they're just trying to help themselves out in the playoffs. I don't know. I'm going to take the under as well. I don't see him being the one to bring more offense to this team, but we'll see what they've got up their sleeves for the rest of the summer. Next on the list is Alex Kerfoot, who goes to the desert. So 10 goals, 22 assists for 32 points. Not a great season for him. What do we think on Arizona, though? We thinking higher or lower here, Steph?
This is tricky because Kerfoot could be slotted anywhere. He plays all three forward positions. They did lose Christian Fischer, which was a bigger name for them last season. Who knows if he's going to slot in his position? It's hard to tell. I think over though, because he did have a little bit of a down year last year, even though it was with the Leafs, right? Like he could be one of those guys to pop off for the Coyotes. So I'm going to go over because Kerfoot, I think he'll adjust smoothly. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here and say I'm taking the over as well. Anybody from the Leafs that goes to the desert is just going to have a better year. It's going to be a Nick Ritchie 2.0. This guy's going to get a hat trick when he comes back to play the Leafs or when they go there. It's going to be a pain in the ass. Like, he's definitely going to be in the top six there. I mean, right now they've got him slotted second line with Jason Zucker and Travis Boyd. I mean, the offense has to come from somewhere. It's kind of like the same but different as Carolina, where Arizona scores. It's just I think Kerfoot's going to be somebody to be a part of a lot of it. So I think, especially because of his down year, he's going to have a good one, and all the power to him. So, Suthy, what do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to both your points, he did have a down year with Toronto, and he's just going to get a ton more offensive chances with the Yotes. Like you're probably going to see him on PP2, even some PP1 opportunities. He's going to play less defensively. He's just not going to be relied on that as much. They're not going to have a very good team this year from everything we're seeing, and I think they're going to be. He's one of the players that they're counting on to, provide that secondary scoring, if not low end first end scoring, which is insane to think about. But yeah, I think he's a lock to have more points.
Yeah, and signing 2 times 3.5, it's the same he was making in Toronto, so I guess it works. Biehn, what do you think?
Honestly, I don't think he cracks the 40-point mark. Looking at the roster right now, I would almost put him on the third line. Like, you got Clayton Keller, they re-signed Bukestad, you got Nick Schmaltz, that'll be probably your first line. Zucker, Barrett Hayton, and Lawson Krause is your second. Like, I don't see him supplanting any of those guys.
Yeah, I'm just looking at daily faceoffs. Got Barrett Hayton, Nick Schmaltz, Clayton Keller as the first line. Kerfoot, Boyd, Zucker is the second. Michelli, Bukestad, Krause is the third. But, I mean, really, I think they got to bump Krause up this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got Dylan Genther and Jack McBain are playing already. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a mishmash. I think he's going to be relied a lot more on like the penalty kill and defensively like that, because he is that veteran presence to do that, and they can let the kids kind of get used to the league running wild on offense.
Well, I mean, again, he only had 32 points this season, so even 40 would be an improvement on that. So you think he's going to crack 32?
Just.
All right. Also worth pointing out, did not mention Michael Bunting's deal, signing 3 times 4.5 to Carolina. So before we move on, what do we think about the money that Michael Bunting was able to earn for himself here? Steph?
It's reminded me of Hyman, the whole Hyman situation, and the same kind of player almost. Bunting took his shoes when he came to Toronto and then chased the money afterwards. I got to eat crow saying that he's going to stay with his dogs. I don't think it was up to him anyway, but I'm sure he would have loved to stay in Toronto to play with his boys, but not going to happen. Super happy for him in Carolina. And he said it was an easy decision after speaking to the coach, Rod Brendamore, and how he kind of, fluffed up his play, saying that he really loved his style and where he thought he'd fit in. And he also commented on, how noisy that building was. And every time they're in as a visiting team, it's just super loud and hard to play in that building. So, yeah, I think this is a huge check for Bunting. Like, hey, I feel bad for Curfew here, like going to freaking Arizona and then, Bunting going to a cup contending team. Good on you, bud.
Yeah, I mean, look, we knew it was going to happen. We had a small window to get Bunting at the price we had him at. Dubas made a good find there. And it was kind of inevitable. And like you said, he turned into Zach Hyman 2.0 and signed close to the same deal. So, Suthy, what do you think of how much money Bunting was able to get here?
I mean, good for him. He had the unique opportunity of playing with Matthews and Marner most of his career in Toronto. Whether it was deserved or not, he definitely padded his stats by doing that, and he parlayed that into a really nice contract for himself. The Leafs are never ever going to give him that type of money, and yeah, good for him. Like he plays a nice two-way game. He's going to bring some offense there. I'm glad he didn't sign it in Toronto, but yeah, happy for him.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, he got lucky in that this was kind of an off year for UFAs, so he was pretty highly touted. Not that I don't think he would be in a normal year, but I mean, once the money's already been spent on the top, maybe 5 to 10 guys, I think in a normal year he's not in the top 10. So
that's a great point.
He took advantage of the fact that there was a lot more money to spend. So, Biehn, anything you want to close with here on Bunting?
First, I want to emphasize that yes, he filled Hyman's shoes, but he wasn't Hyman 2.0. He was like a wish Hyman or a discount Hyman.
Yeah,
Like, I would take Hyman over Bunting any day. I love Bunting, but Hyman's hockey mind is just so much better. And then with regards to his comments about it being an easy decision, if someone's offering me $4.5 million, absolutely, I'll go play anywhere. No, it like you guys said, it's good for him that he can get that. There was no way in hell we were ever going to pay him that. Yeah, a little bit of an overpay, but that's probably, like you said, Roscoe, due to the market being what it is.
Yeah,
right,
literally just over $900,000 on his last contract, being bumped up to 4.5, the same contract that Ryan O'Reilly got this year. So happy for the kid, but hey, there was this, always in the back of our minds, especially after this playoffs, like, is this kind of Kadri type attitude going to continue and put the team in dire straits when you kind of need someone there, sort of thing? Or are the refs going to continue their magnifying, perspective on his type of play, even though the Leafs got a little tougher in my opinion? But Bunting, to me, kind of dug himself in a little bit of a...
Oh, did I lose you there, Steph?
Me?
I guess before... Oh, Steph, we got you back?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I was just lastly, Bunting, he really had to prove himself last season, and getting bumped off that top line, the top 6, moving up and down the lineup, it wasn't security for the Leafs, so had to move on.
One thing I just want to quickly address as it's come up in our group chat here. What you are hearing in the background is actually Canadian and Timmins legend Shania Twain performing at Blues Fest outside. So Suthy is very close to it. It's just faintly in the background, but you're welcome for being serenaded.
Watch, Spotify's going to ban us for that.
Oh, there's nothing you can make out there.
Live Shania. Wow.
One that I really want to take a couple extra minutes on here, because as Biehn and I expanded on last night, this is really kind of crazy how much money is tied up. So the New York Islanders give 7 times 3 to Pierre Engvall. This is the longest contract that anybody got from the Leafs roster. So first off, I guess we'll do our higher or lower. What do we think of Pierre Engvall breaking 21 points with the Islanders next year? Steph?
If he doesn't, that will be so sad. So sad. Like, he's really set up for success on this team, and now he'll have a whole year of Bo Horvat and company, right? Like, just being in this top 6 and rotating off PP1, PP2. Come on, Giraffe. Like, more than 21 points, you got to do it, especially with this long-term contract now.
The more I think about it, he's such a Lou Lamoriello player. Like, he's just big and physical, but I mean, he's not physical yet. But I guess if he's around all those guys, like Lou's just gonna yell at him to throw his body into the corner. Like,
Shaved his beard, and we're like, ugh, what happened?
oh, gross. So the 7 times 3 for Engvall, 21 points. What do you think? Suthy?
Sorry, I just missed that. I had a bit of a technical.
Oh,
Lost
no
in
problem.
Shania's serenading.
So 7
Indeed.
times 3 for Engvall and 21 points. What do you think of the deal, and higher or lower on the points?
Jesus, the term is just insane. Like 7 years for him is, I mean, good for him. Like he's got job security for better part of a decade now, which is unreal to think about.
You got an extra 3 years for that bod.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's a great god.
How many points again? Sorry.
21.
Yeah, I
was,
can see him cracking like 25 points maybe. But
Where
for
is he
$3 million
here?
bucks, like if you're just banking on mid 20s, it's not great.
12 goals, 9
Johnny.
assists. Yeah.
Are you using some like backwoods stats page again?
Yeah, I was gonna say 21 seems low.
Yeah, I am actually. Sorry.
Yeah.
What, like
Yeah,
I love
30 points.
hockey.com?
What are you new here? Of course I'm using fucking CBS.com.
Notorious
Fake
for their
news.
hockey knowledge.
You could get better hockey knowledge asking Buck Martinez.
What are you talking about? I'm on NHL.com. 21 points. I just switched. It's the same.
Is that what he had with the Leafs? What about with the Islanders? We traded him halfway through the season.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that, actually.
I
Okay,
think he had
so
30 points.
I actually
Sounds
totally
better.
forgot that he wasn't with us at the end of the season.
yeah. But he was on the opening roster.
30 points
Yeah.
He had
last year.
17 goals, 13 assists, 30 points.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
17
Sorry.
goals.
Regardless,
Giraffe.
I still think
Sorry.
he tops it.
I think so too. Not like
Yes.
much. He can like flirt with like 35, maybe 40 if he's having a good year, but
Okay, so what I want to talk about here with the Islanders real quick. Justin and I
Is it
talked about
giraffe
this.
noise?
And
Real quick. Sorry. Thank you.
Steph and I were talking about it while we were waiting for you guys. But, so Suthy, do you want to take a stab at how much money Lou has already committed to 28, 29, and beyond?
Oof. 20. I have no idea actually.
5 years from now and beyond.
Take a stab at how many $1 million are already committed by the Islanders in the year 28, 29.
I can't. I don't even know where to begin.
$44.25 million.
Oh, I was gonna guess like mid 20s maybe.
So
Damn.
Matthew Barzal over 9 million until 2031. Bo Horvat 8.5 until 2031. Pierre Engvall 3 million until 2030. Ryan Pulock 6 million until 2030. Adam Pelech 5.75 until 2029.
I love
Scott
that.
Mayfield 3.5 million until 2030, and Ilya Sorokin 8.25 until 2032.
They are
Oh my
locked
God.
in.
Varley
Those
for 4,
contracts
right?
are going to be like like 7% of the cap or lower. Like by the time the cap goes up, that's insane.
Yeah.
What are these already at cap percentage? So Matthew Barzal's and Bo Horvat's are 10 and 11% of the cap. By the time their contracts are like, by the time like 28, 29 comes around, that's going to be like, like 7-6%. That's crazy.
In 5 years, the cap will be up 20 million. So even more, right?
Whoa.
This year 1, next year 7, and then between
Okay.
25 and 27, it's 5 apiece.
So if it's at 103, 9 million is like, it'll be like, what's that, 9%? Less than 9%?
Yeah.
So it's pretty close. That's wild. These deals look stupid now, but man, it'll be worth it.
All it takes is for Bettman to continue being Bettman, and the cap could slow down a lot. Like if something happens and the NHL screws something up and they lose a sponsor or a partner or something like that, hockey related revenue drops, the cap could freeze.
That's true. If like, the World Cup coming to the States makes MLS take a huge jump and they lose all these TV deals, like Bally Sports going under, and another one if like regional broadcasting gets screwed up, or who knows? But let's not talk about dark things. The next one gone. Justin Hall, who got a raise, who's getting $3.4 million a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Justin Hall to Detroit, 3 times 3.4, $10.2 million for Halsey. I can't believe this, man. Like, I don't know.
I would have paid that to see him leave.
I don't get it. Like, that's more than Luke Shen got. I don't get it.
It's $8.15 million in Ben Sherratt and Justin Hall.
He's making as much as Freddie Anderson is making.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Marner posted on his Instagram story saying, "So proud of my dog, so well deserved. Gonna miss you, J-Bone." And Zeus is gonna be Miss Franklin in a very big way. It was so cute. He posted all of his teammates and a little goodbye thing on Insta. But yeah, and people asked him in interviews like, what kind of motivated you for sort of thing, or did you ever get down in the dumps while being in Toronto because there was a lot of hate? And he pretty much said like the hate just made him stronger. So good for him.
Did it?
Go ahead.
Did it make him stronger? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that's all I just asked.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this Detroit team, I'm excited for this Detroit team. They made a lot of moves this offseason, and Justin Hall is thrown into the mix here, joining, Cider, of course, and the Ghost is also in Detroit now with Sherratt, and I don't know. I think this is going to be a sneaky team next season.
Okay, would you rather Justin Hall for $3.4 million or Matt Duchene for $3 million? Like,
Duchene, 100%.
This is my point. It's like I don't understand the money and it doesn't really make sense. It's
He's
not
like a
what he's
right-handed
worth.
shot, but the overpayment is just crazy. Like he's not going to put up points. He's a 5th, 6th defenseman. He's all right at killing penalties, but he's going to make that one play a game where you're always going to remember Justin Hall. Like he's going to cost you a goal a game almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just looking. There's nobody that signed even close to that. Like, I mean, him and Alex Kerfoot are making about the same money. Bowen Byram makes 3.85.
Wow.
And Justin Hall makes 3.4. Like, that's where I'm like what is Detroit doing? Anyway,
They also
we'll see.
pay Jake Wallman the same amount, and it's the exact same contract actually. And I don't know, their whole defensive core is over $3 million with besides Mort Seider on an entry level contract and Lindstrom, who's also a new guy at $950K.
Well, I mean, I think it's probably safe to say Justin Hall will probably get more than 18 points, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
No.
No?
I think he'll be in the teens.
Okay.
Detroit's not going to score as much as Toronto was scoring. And for some reason or another, whether it was Dubas or whether it was Keefe, Hall was like always out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's going to get buried under Sherratt, Gostisbehere, Cider. Like, he's not going to get power play opportunity, of course. He's mostly going to be on the PK, I'm assuming, and that's about it.
Ryan O'Reilly going to Nashville for 4 times 4.5. Obviously, it's not that we couldn't afford it. It's that he didn't want to stay here by the sounds of it. And we can talk about it, but he didn't have the best things to say subtly about the locker room and his time here. So kind of sucks to hear, but I'm glad there's been some changes made that we'll talk about, obviously, in a few. But what do we think of Mr. O'Reilly going out to Nashville, where I mean he kind of gets to be low key like he was in St. Louis?
Yeah, I heard that's kind of one of his priorities is that he'd want to play for a low key team. All the rumors about the locker room stuff, I'm not sure how much weight I really put into that because he was negotiating right up until the deadline. If he really was that against the locker room or the Leafs, he probably would have just told them no right away. So I'm not sure how much stock I really put into that. But as for Nashville, it's a great signing for him. He's a really good regular season player. He's obviously got that pedigree in the playoffs. I'm just not quite sure why he picked there if he did want to play for a contender for the rest of his years.
Yeah, and then what did he have? 16 goals, 14 assists for 30 points last year. Obviously, he only played 63 games. He had some injuries. I mean, if he's healthy, I'd say higher.
Guys,
Definitely higher. He's going to be the number one center in Nashville. As sad as that is.
Oh yeah, higher for sure.
really?
Well, I mean,
I
yeah,
guess-
Nashville bailed on both their centers, right? So
Yeah, Johansson and who else?
Duchesne.
Duchesne. Yeah. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
The fact that he signed for the exact same amount offered by Toronto is the biggest slap in the face, in my opinion. The guy didn't even take extra whatever. In fact, if he stayed in Toronto, he would have made more just from all his fucking commercials and stuff. I call this guy a traitor, man. Like, he's supposed to stay in Toronto. Dubas brought him over to take term and fucking retire in Toronto. So this made me mad. I don't
guess
know.
what? Dubas is gone, and he's also a liar. So fuck him.
I know, but like just
Knives
his
are out.
comments, like it's not the money or the term. That wasn't the issue. Okay, then what is it? Because when you talk about Ryan Reeves and all the stories tied to him, like they're talking about how quiet this locker room is and about the coach and yada yada. So what if there is a little culture issue?
I think there was. I mean, like, not to repeat things I've heard on other shows, but like, really, whose team is this? There's no like single leader of this team, and it just kind of goes up to committee. And for better or worse, that's not been a good thing for them. Like, I don't think anybody's really been able to step up and control this room and to give everybody a kick in the ass when things aren't going their way. Like, John's not that kind of guy. Matthews leads by example. Marner's a kid still. Like, they're not. There's nobody that's really like the take charge, experienced, like going to give these guys a kick in the ass. And I think that's what Treliving's trying to bring in is like, if we're going to do this by committee, more of the committee needs to be fired up.
But realistically, I think what it comes down to is the fact that O'Reilly doesn't want fame. He can't. He doesn't have the stomach to handle the pressure. Like, look at when he was in Buffalo. The two places that he's played that has had a lot of pressure, he hasn't been able to handle it. Right? Like,
Yeah,
some
100%
players,
right.
some players just can't. Like, that's not a knock on the guy. I don't know. I love the Leafs. If I was an NHL player, I don't know if I'd be able to handle it just because of the fact that it is absolutely insane. Like, if the locker room was that bad, I think this might be some of the mainstream media looking for clickbait. Like, Marlowe was there. Thornton was there. Spezza was there. Muzzin is there. Gio's there. You really think you would have 5 highly respected players come in and some out, but some are still there into that locker room and not say anything or not have any change on it whatsoever?
Well, I don't think
I
it's
think
had
a
an
lot of
effect,
it is
though.
a smokescreen.
Yeah, or like have guys like Bertuzzi want to sign here, or even Domi for a lesser extent.
So, if the whole thing with O'Reilly is he doesn't want all the attention, I mean, Smashville #1 center, like that's not exactly low key. Like as small of a market as Nashville is, if you're going to put him front and center, I mean, it's not exactly small.
He can play 28 minutes a night for Nashville, score the Game 7 clinching goal to send them to the Cup final, walk outside the arena, and maybe 5 out of 100 people will know who he is.
Yeah, college basketball, football, all will be king way over he is.
I don't buy it. I don't like that excuse. It might be
know,
right.
man.
It might be true. I don't like it. I think he's a fucking traitor and he can go retire in the U.S. Fuck him. Honestly,
right.
no.
I think that's what he's going to go do.
No. I get it.
same amount of money. Like, come on.
No, it's
He
bullshit.
couldn't handle it. He won a cup. He was the captain of the Blues. Fuck that excuse. No way.
That's what I mean. Like, if he was the captain of the Blues, right? Like, he's going to be the #1 center in Nashville. It's not like he's afraid of the spotlight. I think it's just a matter of not wanting to be here. So,
Yeah. There's something more to it that's not being said. I
I'm
bet
with
you.
Steph.
There's
with
more
Steph.
to that. This is telling me that there was a problem. And the whole discussion with Ryan Reeves and Luke Fox brought up on another show saying that one day at the end of the season too, it was a practice and a Western Conference team came in and there was media and he turned to Luke and was like, is it usually this quiet? Like he wasn't used to how, I don't know, like how it was. And he's just like, yeah. So this is what makes me excited about Ryan Reeves. And I know...
And he talked about getting the team together for events and bringing them together for dinners. And Adam Wilde pointed this out. Remember in the playoffs when they said this is the first time we've gotten together for dinner on the road? That's kind of fucking crazy. Like,
yeah.
That's not a really, like, yeah, it's in the moment we're all like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, we kind of should have thought about that a little more and how insane it is that this team is that disconnected and doesn't get together. And there's nobody leading that charge.
Yeah.
By the way, he wasn't the captain of the Blues. Pietrangelo.
Petro, yeah.
Oh, I thought he was the captain at one point. Okay,
He was the
never
captain
mind.
when he left there, was he not?
Yeah. He was
but
given the seat.
not when they won the cup.
Okay, so that we didn't say when they won the
Petro
cup.
went to Vegas.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't.
He said he captained the cup team.
I didn't. Steph did.
Yeah, I said they won the cup and he was the captain. Yada yada. Sorry, my bad. My bad. He passed
Also,
it off.
Anyways,
a whole
he
side,
can't handle the pressure.
a whole side thing. I hate that we watch a sport that has a professional sport that has teams that we talk about you can go to hide where no one knows who you are. That's so frustratingly sad that Bettman can't get
Every
this
sport
game to
has it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Every for sure, man. Every sport has it.
Every sport has at least one team.
At least one, not an entire like division. I can name 8 NHL teams that you could say somebody's going to get away from the spotlight. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a good thing.
No. We've been beating the drum for Fire Bettman forever.
Anyway, it's not what I want to talk about right now. We got too much shit. Okay,
Reset.
so we'll reset here. What are we doing?
Higher, lower, old players.
Yeah, all that's left is, I mean, Noel Achari.
Pittsburgh, Dubas.
Yeah. So I guess let's use that as a transition to the signings that Dubas made, because Ryan Graves, 6 times 4.5. Oh, this was all at once. Alex Nedeljkovic, 1 times 1.5. Tristan Jarry, 5 times 5 and a bit. And Noel Achari, 3 times 2. That's a lot of money handed out in a very short amount of time to a bunch of guys who are weirdly like the same age. They're all 27, 28. But the one that seems to stick out to everybody is Ryan Graves, 6 times 4.5. This is quite a gamble by Senior Dubas. What do we think about this long-term signing of a player who's got, I mean, what's this? 100 points in 302 NHL games, so obviously not awful, an impactful defenseman, but a lot of money to spend.
That's a lot of cheddar for a guy with that amount of points. To the whole cap thing again, if it's going up, it won't look so bad, but more importantly, I think they're investing heavily that Malkin, Crosby, and Letang are going to have huge seasons, because if they don't, the secondary and like third tertiary scoring here is not going to be able to get them where they want to go. Like, they are putting all their eggs on the Crosby and Malkin basket again. And, you know, it might work this year, but I don't think it's going to work for a number of years after that.
No, they've got nothing down the line, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Dubas... I mean, obviously he's not going to be the GM for too long, I don't think, but interesting to see how they try to rebuild for the after Crosby years, because they've not planned for that at all from what everybody can see.
He's not even the GM now.
Isn't he?
He's the president.
Yeah, but he's interim because there isn't a GM.
Yeah, because he's probably not going to hire one. He's just going to let Spezza be the assistant, and he's going to run the whole show.
Oh my god.
No, like the whole joke with the Penguins for years when Rutherford was there was the fact that they're not going to pick in the first 2 or 3 rounds for the next 10 drafts, because every single year he was trading all of his picks. It's like what was that? What was the basketball team recently said? Draft schmack.
Yeah.
Like, and that's basically what they were doing. But you have the staples, like Jari and DeSmith were looking like a good tandem. Malkin, Crosby, Letang have all apparently found the fountain of youth for some unknown reason, and they're getting less injured as they get older, which makes absolutely no sense. So you'd almost be stupid not to keep trying to run it back, but so realistically, the one move that you're pointing out is actually probably the move that he did that I like the most.
Really?
Like 6'5", 28-year-old defenseman who isn't afraid to hit. Like, it was only a handful of seasons ago that he was leading the league in hits. Like,
True.
That's the style of defenseman that everybody said that Dubas hated, that he would never bring into the Leafs.
Yeah, and think of like all the other defensemen that were on the market this year. It was so thin that he was bound to get paid, right?
Yeah, I guess the market.
Considering
All right.
the cap is going to be 20 million more in 5 years, it
won't be
looks
that
okay.
bad,
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
okay if he's decent.
He is. He's highly touted by many teams. Even many of Leafs Nation wanted Graves. Trade deadline, the off season. They're even Mayfield, for example, and he obviously got re-signed. But I like Dubas here with taking Noah Achari as well, and Riley Smith. Just winning the cup with Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lars
a good
Eller
bunch.
is a pretty good depth player coming from the Caps, and Nedeljkovic, right? This goalie who I'm surprised is leaving Detroit, and he's a young, pretty good goalie in my opinion. I mean, he saved my ass in fantasy a couple times. But
He's been bouncing around, though.
yeah,
He's his third team in 3 years.
it is. Yeah, which is surprising to me. But hey, he might pop off here. DeSmith has another year, but they might trade him out. He's the oldest goalie now at 31.
Wild.
But Chris
that he's already
Letang,
31.
yeah, until 27, 28. Oh, I'm just looking at all these contracts. They're really, the longevity of this team is incredible. But
All right.
anyway,
We got to move on because let's talk about the new guys that we got. Starting chronologically, we picked up Ryan Reeves, John Klingberg, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Max Domi. A completely different looking team, an entirely new identity. What a certain portion of Leafs Nation have been screaming about Dubas not doing for years. We're taking this route. So, I mean,
Don't forget about Dylan Gambrell.
Dylan Gambrell as well, who will probably be mostly a Marley, but we'll see. I mean, we got a ton of time this summer to dive into all of these guys and whoever else we may end up picking up. But just at a first glance, what do you think about taking this route? Because, I mean, we've seen the same team, for better or worse, run it back mostly, like an 85% run back every year for the last couple of years. This is the biggest change up to the identity that we've seen. This is sticking someone on each line that'll punch you in the face. This is giving support to all the guys that have been getting jumped and adding another offensive defenseman. So let's reverse the order. Biehn, what do you think about, first glance, this new Leaf team?
So if you look at it like a quick line breakdown, it looks really good. It's like what were our starting left wings last year? Bunting, Kerfoot, I think, and Malgin.
Yep.
Like, so it's undoubtedly an upgrade. Call me a little like a negative Nancy, but I'm almost a little bit worried at the seeming like the bias that it seems to happen against Leaf players when you have a player like Bertuzzi. Shortly after he signed, I tweeted out the video of him stealing the stick from Nick Cousins in the playoffs and going to his bench. And,
Yeah.
like, that's something that he would get suspended for if he played on the Leafs. As silly as that sounds, and that makes me sound like a horrible fan. But that's my concern there. The nostalgia in me, we're getting a lot of nostalgia over the last couple of years. Like last season with Shen, loved it. We're going to see Max Domi, like a Domi on the Leaf jersey again. That's going to be awesome. We've got a McCabe on a jersey too. Like,
That's pretty wild. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted in trade deadline was McCabe and Domi, and now we have it. And by the sounds of it, Domi's never leaving, which is holy shit amazing.
also, like, with regards to the potential of there being something wrong in the dressing room, like Domi and Marner played together in London. They know each other. There's no way in hell that Domi didn't talk to Marner before signing this contract.
It's fair.
Then with regards to Klingberg, it's a little more than I would have wanted to pay him, but I can kind of see what they did there. We were having an issue in the playoffs offensively. Everybody says the Leafs are this run-and-gun offensive team, and we haven't been for years. We can afford to give up a little defensively. A lot of people are making comparisons to the fact that he's going to wear number 3, just like Justin Hall did.
It's his original number, right?
Oh, boy.
So we'll see about that, but I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm going to be less angry with Klingberg than I was with Hall.
Yeah, who do you see Klingberg being paired with, though? Because he does not really play defense as
Brody.
People would.
Yeah, Brody, I think so.
If Brody's a Leaf by October.
Pure defense,
He'll
pure
be a
offense.
His name is the one that keeps coming up. I don't know, man. Suthy, what do you think of the new team?
Yeah, to Biehner's point, like the left wing definitely improved a lot. I'm higher on Klingberg than most people are. I think he had a really high ceiling. He just wasn't a great fit in Dallas. He wasn't a great fit in Anaheim. I think he's gonna have a big bounce back year. But the thing that's interesting to me is like this is a bit of a change of philosophy, and they have this unique opportunity where these guys all signed for 1 year. So if it doesn't work out, then they can pivot again. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do this, and especially if it works out, what are they going to do in the offseason? It's just more questions again for next year. The 1 year contracts are like for Bertuzzi, it's great, but I don't know. It's weird. The 1 year's just kind of weirded me out a little bit.
It's funny that the one that I personally wouldn't want to give term to was Ryan Reeves, that they gave 3 years. Like I would rather have any of the other guys on term.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see it because in his media availability, Trevor Living said that both Bertuzzi and Domi wanted term, and the Leafs were the ones who pretty much said no. They pivoted and offered them the 1 years and kind of used that to their advantage too, right? Like, have a great year, and if it doesn't work out with us, it's definitely going to work out with someone else because as we see, everyone gets paid after playing for the Leafs, right? But man, different GM, different identity. This clearly shows. And with everyone who's left the Leafs so far, right, we're losing a lot of grit here. And Dangle brought this up also in his episode. Shin, Ryan O'Reilly, Bunting, Achari, Hall, Zadorna, Czar, Wayne Simmons. Like, these are guys who can bring that physicality to the team. And
okay, I'm going to stop you right there for 1 sec. Ryan O'Reilly, Noel Achari, Luke Shen, we picked up at the deadline. They played less than 30 games with the Leafs. Wayne Simmons barely played last season. Zahorna did not play in the Leafs jersey. If he did, it was maybe 1 or 2 games. Like, what are we doing? Were any of those guys impactful in their physical game? Like, O'Reilly was hurt. Like, they didn't bring physicality to this team. Noel Achari did, but he was one guy.
Yeah, and like this.
Didn't Zahorna play in the game you went to in Ottawa?
He did, actually. You're right. As I was saying, it was like if he did, it's 1 or 2. Because I'm like, I definitely saw him. Yeah.
The point is... Go ahead.
Especially like Bertuzzi. He's going to be playing with Matthews and Marner probably. He's going to far exceed his contract. And he's going to be almost unaffordable next year. So, I just don't understand what we're doing with the 1 years. If they wanted to take term, I don't get why we wanted to leave that on the table, especially if that's a direction that Brad wants to go in.
The reason is so right now, because the cap's going up, term costs you more money than a 1-year contract does. So if you want term, all these guys are like, okay, well, the cap's going up, so I want, X amount of dollars, because a lot of teams have nothing committed already, unless you're the Islanders, and you'll have more money too. So True Living was able to pivot and say, with all these guys asking for, 7 or 6 years or 5 years times, $6 or $7 million or $8 million, he's like, okay, how about one? You do really well, and then next year when the cap's up, you have even more money to ask for. So I think that's the move he was able to make here. Biehner.
What you said is probably about 98% of it. And then I would hope that it's a little bit of a play by Brad as well. Like, Bertuzzi is that, like, he's the type of player everybody's been saying that the Leafs have been missing forever. He's also had a little bit of an injury problem.
Yeah, true.
He hasn't really been able to play a full season, especially with the style that he plays. Like, if you wanted to give him term, even if you could lock him up at that 5.5 for 5 years or whatever, well, who's to say that doesn't turn into David Clarkson?
Well, the good thing about his contract is that it's a $775,000 salary with a 4.725 signing bonus. So they can, that's why they, arranged it in this way. And I don't know, it's easier to dump apparently, or I don't know the logistics behind it, but there's an article out there explaining this. Go ahead.
Sorry, Steph, like a quick breakdown on something like that. Like, that is the perfect type of contract for a team like Arizona or San Jose or Carolina to acquire.
Seattle.
Because the cap hit is going to be big, but the actual dollars that they're going to have to pay out is league minimum or below.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
signing bonuses get paid out on the same day every year.
Exactly. The Leafs are one of only a handful of teams that are able to do this. They can do it with every single contract. They could give Matthews a $500,000 contract and then 11.5 signing bonus, and Toronto wouldn't flinch at it. Whereas other teams, there's no way they could do it, because to have that much money come out of their pocket in one day, it would bankrupt them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, True Living said he wanted to add a little bit more of snot to the Leafs game. And these two players, Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi, definitely have this with the offensive ability, right? And, the thing that shocked me too with the whole Bertuzzi thing, COVID, he was the only guy not playing in the bubble and the only guy who's unvaccinated. I guess we're all clear of that. And also, thing that's going to be talked about a lot next season now that he plays for Leafs.
Oh. And we lost her.
Cliffhanger.
Back. Hold
God
on.
damn it. God damn it. God damn it.
What
Suspense
is it?
is high.
No what?
Oh my
You left us
God.
hanging.
Hello?
Yes.
You
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
No knob on his stick, guys. This guy does not tape the end of his stick.
That's what I waited for?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
I thought that was illegal.
When I played
No.
hockey, it was illegal because it can go through your face. I guess you're not wearing face masks or anything, but
Oh, and she's gone. That's illegal.
he's knobless.
Yeah, the only like vibes thing, and I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm reaching a bit here, but like the culture of the Leafs has been very Ontario liberal, I guess I'll put it. And Bertuzzi is very much not that, so I just don't know how somebody like, say, Morgan Riley and Tyler Bertuzzi are going to get along, but maybe they're great friends. I don't know. Maybe people don't talk about politics in hockey, but I don't know.
I do like having the mix of personalities in that room. I think that's going to spice it up a lot.
Actually, now that I think of it, didn't JT's wife donate to the convoy? We don't have to get into that.
Let's not get into any of that.
Anyway, moving on.
I
What
think
does that
this is
sound?
a different type of grip.
Oh,
guys.
Steph, you're on the wrong microphone or something.
Oh my god.
You
Oh my
guys
god.
are
So-
yelling me.
Yeah, have fun editing this one, Roscoe.
Oh, and I don't even. I get paid
So,
enough.
but that
You get
that
paid?
being said, with Bertuzzi, with the vaccines, he did have he was part of a fundraiser in the Sudbury
Yep.
area. They had masks with his toothless smile on it.
Mhm.
So it's not like everybody's painting him out to be this horrible anti-vaxxer, Trump supporting, blah blah blah. But he was still helping in the community. So yes, he didn't get vaccinated and he didn't play in the bubble. But it's not like he was out there saying that the whole pandemic was a hoax and everything
Okay,
like
He's
that.
made a
fair.
personal
we can at
decision,
least
and
give
he
we
did
can
help.
at least give him a little credit.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give him that. But speaking back of Morgan Riley, he's the only person who's signed beyond him and David Kampf are the only people we got into 26, 27. I think that's pretty funny that the future of the Leafs is David Kampf and Morgan Riley.
David Kampf ranked higher than Austin Matthews in faceoffs taken and in faceoffs won last year.
What?
So David Kampf signing for 4 years, honestly, it was music to my ears because he does all of the right things for this team, in my opinion. And for 2.4 mil, damn, I'm happy with that number.
That's
I know you
also
guys
because he
covered that.
took. That's also because he took pretty much every single defensive zone draw, and the Leafs are quite often penalized more than they have power plays.
That's very true. Good point.
Yet again, I don't have my tinfoil hat on. I'm not trying to be that guy, but
Over the past 2 seasons, there's only been 3 other players in the NHL with a better impact per 60 minutes goals against on the PK. So it's these little broken down stats that
Yeah.
obviously you don't see while you're playing. But hey, David Kampf, he's their trustworthy guy in the defensive zone. And I don't know, man, that and the Pontus Holmberg signing, when you put
I'm
the money
so glad
together.
you said that.
Yeah.
So Pontus Holmberg leads me into the last thing I want to talk about before we go to a question here to finish the show. Pontus Holmberg was part of the 2018 draft. And do you guys want to take a stab at how many other players the Leafs still have from that draft?
2018.
None.
I'm gonna
Is he the only one?
say one.
Yeah.
The answer, I guess, would be just Pontus Holmberg. So whether you want to call that 0 or 1, because that draft was Rasmus Sandin, who is obviously now gone. I went the wrong way here. Rasmus Sandin, Sean Dursey, SDA, who just signed in the KHL, Riley Stotts, Mac Hollowell, Philip Kroll, Pontus Holmberg, Zachary Boutillier, and Simon Kizimov. So yeah, the only person left from this draft now is Pontus Holmberg.
Damn.
Funsies.
One last thing, Max Domi, guys. When he was drafted by Arizona, Treliving was on that stage as well, and Shane Doan was the captain at the time of his first season. So
Yes.
all of these connections are coming full circle in Toronto, and
yeah.
seeing a lot of old staff members and such from when he was a little kid. Super exciting. One guy who wants to remain on this team, who has the real dog in him, this has to be it. And he even said straight up in the interview that it's not about the money, it's about winning. And it's rare that you hear a Leaf player say those words.
Yeah, Bertuzzi said the same thing. He came here because he thought he had the best chance to win.
Yeah. And just to bring up Domi for a sec, pop quiz, Biehn might know this better, but how many father and son duos have played for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Oh Jesus! For the Leafs?
Yes, in their history. And name them if you can.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm closing my other computer. I'm not googling it. Give me a couple minutes to think here.
Okay.
Same.
I think 3 are obvious, but yes, this is tricky because we have some older names in the mix.
While you guys think about that, if you want to start writing them down,
I
we
can
can
think
do
of
an easy.
three.
We can do an easy question here. This is from Cody Donaldson, W_Donaldson on Twitter. Very important question. If Matthews was an ice cream flavor, what would it be? And this led to a lot of discourse on Twitter of people arguing about this. So, what do you think Austin Matthews would be if he was an ice cream flavor, Steph?
I think when this question was asked to the players, I think he said like mint chocolate chip or something.
I was gonna say mint chocolate chip.
But it
Muskoka
doesn't.
mocha.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more mocha-y, spicy, like fucking like chili chocolate ice cream or something.
Are you saying that because he's half Mexican?
And he also said his favorite food was like tortilla soup that his mom makes. So I don't know.
Okay,
I feel
so
like
yes.
he's hot and spicy.
He's poppy. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know, rando.
I was gonna say mint chocolate chip just because it's one of those ones where if you're listing like the all-time best, people aren't gonna say mint chocolate chip. But if you say, yo, but like mint chocolate chip though, you're like, oh, it's so good. And like if you're going out, you're gonna get mint. I like it. And okay, you know what? Don't give me that head shake, Biehner. Don't give me that head shake.
Not my fave either.
Okay. Well, at least
Nah.
to me, that's my sentiment on it. And that's like I would say that
It's,
people
it's
are gonna
like you're eating a chocolate bar after you brush your teeth.
He's like cherry
What-
ice cream.
I am so
Once he landed those
over
sweet,
these uncultured swines and associating mint with toothpaste. Mint is not a toothpaste flavor. Toothpaste is mint flavored. Get the fuck out of here with that. Cook with more mint, eat more mint, and make it more of a thing outside of brushing your teeth. Appreciate mint, fresh mint.
Mojitos.
Put it in salads. Put it in drinks. Use it with meat. You can do so many things with it. Stop associating it only with toothpaste. It makes me so mad.
This podcast is brought to you
it
by
tastes like-
Big Mint.
No, people. Whenever I put mint in things, there's always somebody that's like, "Oh, it tastes like toothpaste." Fuck you! No, it tastes like mint. Your toothpaste tastes like mint. That doesn't mean that mint tastes like toothpaste. Oh my god!
So the second part of Cody's question, what kind of hair products does Nylander use?
The ones we can't afford.
I was gonna say it's
I
probably
don't even know what
like
they're called.
Olaplex. It's probably that like super expensive conditioner that's like good for revitalizing hair. I've only heard of it in salons and
Some
things.
exotic bee wax or something from parts unknown.
I'm
His
sure he
haters'
has a
tears.
stylist. He's got a stylist for sure. But honestly, like, let's get some more input on this ice cream flavor. If it's not mint chocolate chip, then what is it?
Muskoka mocha.
What is Muskoka mocha?
You have to get Muskoka mocha ice cream.
Who makes it?
Kawartha Lakes, I believe. they're
Kawartha
called.
Dairy? The Kawartha
I
Dairy?
thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Kawartha Dairy is like the, not a sponsor, the best ice cream. Hands down.
So I've never had any of their ice cream that wasn't amazing.
Yeah, the Black Raspberry Thunder, so good.
Prickly pear.
Prickly
For
pear.
Prickly
Austin
pear ice cream.
Matthews.
Okay, you're getting to like Arizona. Just think about what is he? What do you think about when it's like, oh, he's one of the best, probably.
Bald.
Oh my
He's
god.
chocolate chip cookie dough. Because once you get the chocolate and then the cookie dough, he's super sweet.
Fake
But
teeth.
in between, he's a little bit vanilla when he's not playing tough enough, right?
He is definitely vanilla in some senses.
But a
But-
Neapolitan, we can see him get red
Prickly-
sometimes. Sometimes he's cool. I don't know.
With some gold shavings on top. Like whatever ice cream it is, it has to have like the gold, edible gold on top. Just get in
Oh
that
my
bag.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's got to be whatever you like. It's not like chocolate or vanilla because that's like, nah. I think like cookie dough or mint chocolate chip, something that's like top tier, but like, you got to be a fan to really fight for like arguing that it's the best when people are like, no, guys, like chocolate is the best. Let's stop this discussion. Just plain chocolate. Connor McDavid is the best because it's just It's simple and it does exactly what you want the best. And people are like, no, you're insane. This one is the best. And it's all like that's the flavor that I think of when I think of Austin Matthews. I don't know what that specifically is to each individual person, but whatever you put your heart and soul behind that is not everybody else's favorite, that's Austin Matthews. And, I think Austin Matthews is whatever flavor that is to you.
Flavor of the week.
He's a different flavor to all of us, and that's what matters.
True. But yeah, Biehn, how's I see you thinking real hard there.
You guys just let me say all that, and y'all just have straight faces. Like, I cannot believe
You can't even see my face.
I can't believe how tuned out to my bullshit you guys are. That it's just like, okay, whatever.
No, it's all good.
So I'm getting in my own head here.
Yeah.
2 for sure. Obviously, Foligno and Domi.
Yeah.
And I think I'm wrong, but I know there was multiple Conikers.
Yes.
I got 2 more.
And then
Charlie and Pete Conacher.
May I?
I was thinking Brian Conacher, but that would make sense. But we've had, all 3 of them played for us. But yes, the Conikers. Did Sil Jr. play for us? I should know this.
Nylander.
No.
Michael Nylander never played for the Leafs.
No.
Did Kapanen's?
No.
The father never did.
No.
There is one from our era recent that a lot of people really give us heck about because we tried this guy in our lineup in the top 6 and then we ended up trading him for this guy. Mason Marchment and Brian Marchment.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We barely knew him.
Shall I reveal? Any more guesses? So what's the total? How many in total?
I had 4 wrote down on my sheet, including Domi, but I don't think the apps one is right.
No. There's 9 in total. So
Holy
we have Ty and Max Domi, Mike and Nick Foligno, Brian and Mason Marchment, Barry and John Cullen, Cal and Paul Gardner, Bill and Trevor Johansson, Babe and Tracy Pratt, Charlie and Pete Conacher, King and Terry
Pratts.
Clancy. Yeah.
All of
And the
those middle
Clancys.
people, I'm like, who the hell?
That's why I said 3. 3 out of 9, right? We know 3. And you guys did. So good job. That was hard.
We had some more questions, and there were some other things I want to talk about, but we're at our time now. Next time, we're going to talk about the Leafs schedule as it was released. There's some interesting little stretches of it, some weird back-to-backs, some weird road trips, but also some fun little things. So, we'll go over what that means for the season. We'll do more of a breakdown once we figure out what's going on with Samsonov, because that's going to arbitration, which means another buyout window for a potential Matt Murray buyout. So we'll have to check back to see what happens there. There's still some stuff going on, so we'll be back soon. But is there anything anyone wants to close with before we run out of here?
The Leafs are over $3.2 million of cap space, but we know that they're allowed 10%, but there has to be something, right? And Muzzin's wife posted on Instagram that they are in California preparing for the big move back in August. So I think he retires this summer. And unfortunately, love him. Brody, I'm so sorry. This big contract. And I want to shoot Murray to the fucking moon. So Brody's probably going to get moved and Murray's going to be shot into outer space. That is my prediction.
And who in the actual hell knows what's going on with William Nylander right now? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
With regards to the Leafs, if you put Muzzin on LTIR, and if you buy out Murray, if I remember correctly, that would leave us with like 2.5-3 million.
Yeah, they're both.
That you
Now-
have to pay Samsonov. At
Sammy
least.
money.
Yeah, which that's absolutely fine. Samsonov doesn't like. Okay, he had a good season, but I can't see him having an amazing arbitration case right now
No.
because he hasn't had anything consistent throughout his entire career. So I don't really think we need to do anything drastic. I know I posed the question a handful of episodes ago about potentially trading Brody, but I think with bringing in a pure offensive guy like Klingberg, I think you kind of need to keep Brody.
100%. He's not going anywhere. That's my hot take.
No, you can have like Riley and Lilly, Brody and Klingberg, McCabe and Timmins, and then rotate Geo in and out.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty solid decor.
Yeah. Yeah. The other one that's been rumored on the move is Sam Lafferty because he's kind of the odd man out, like we were talking last time too. So I think there's still some movement that could happen. And again, if we want to sign Sammy, like, yeah, it's going to eat up the rest of that. And I think Treliving still has some things he wants to do here.
You can't move Lafferty if you're going to be having a guy like Reeves play consistent minutes.
Yeah. And if
No
you
offense
move,
to Reeves,
no, exactly.
but he's with how slow he is and how fast Lafferty is, you can't split that up.
And if you move
And he's
someone like
cheaper.
Murray, you got to think Robertson's going to be a sweetener in whatever deal that is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really think that 1.15 for Lafferty, 1.35 for Reeves. I like Lafferty, guys. Like Lafferdaddy at the end of last season was great. That speedy guy that, you know, we're losing that in Bunting, Kerfoot, these types of guys, you know, and it'll be interesting to see if some Marleys come up too, right? Like maybe even Niemela makes a little case here. I know I'm really pushing, like highly unlikely, but you never know at training camp. That's how freaking Dennis Malgin got in last season, right? Like no one really put him on the second line, and he fucking played for a month there. So
That's fair. I'm just interested to see what happens with the left wing because I mean you've got Domi, Bertuzzi, Nyes. Like I don't know. It seems like we've
nice
got one
left
too
side.
many. It is, but I don't like Nyes on the third line, and I don't like Domi on the third line, and I don't like Bertuzzi on the third line. So if it seems like we got one too many.
Domi on the third.
Yeah, like
Nyes.
it makes the most sense, but like I would rather Domi play with somebody a little better. I don't know.
But Domi can add that offensive punch to the third line that it's been missing.
It's a Domi Camp Yarncroak. Yeah, that's pretty dangerous.
Like that's a pretty solid third line.
It's a hard line to
JT
play against,
Nylander
too.
and JT Nylander and Nyes on your second with Tavares, Marner, and Bertuzzi on your first.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate it.
just a little update with Matthews. The speculation now is that he will not sign more than 5 years. That
That'd be
fucking
crazy
sucks.
too.
And William Nylander, he wants 10 mil, but Leafs are offering 8.5. And his agent, Louis Gross, is known to have clients to test the freaking market, guys. Like it was Gaudreau, Sad, Krug, Dumoulin, Achari. Like he has a trend of having his clients test. So I hope not. I hope he friggin' stays. When you compare the stats of forwards, around the same mark, I don't know. He's not. It's frustrating, right?
Well, he's not going to go to free agency. If anything goes south, the Leafs will move him. It's just a matter of whether, like, there's kind of three different options at this point, and we'll expand on this next time because we do have to get out of here. But there's three options. It's either they sign him now, they trade him now, or they trade him at the deadline.
Ding,
Because, I mean, or you sign him, like, after the season's done before July 1st, but I guess there's four options, but that's kind of it. You've got two opportunities to trade him and kind of two to sign him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Okay.
if they're not going to let him walk to free agency, there's no way.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he signs soon. And yeah, none of this waiting around bullshit. I feel like Trelivin's not going to put up with that like Dubas did.
Yeah. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Go and check out the merch store because we're going to have some stuff popping up this weekend because I think now is a good time with the new identity of the team, a new GM and free agency and draft out of the way to call this the official beginning of season 3. So thank you. everybody for tuning in. This weekend I'll have some new merch posted. Hopefully, I will post it on Twitter. I'm going to try to have it up for Saturday night. So stay tuned. Have a good night.
Whoop, whoop.
My
Good
outro's
night.
not working. So good doom, 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 doom.
Yeah, that's normal. Oh, but Johnny is gone. That's not normal.
That's not normal.
Oopsie.
Oh,